Hello Flosstube, this is Laura from Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with some paper crafting thrown in too. But today is all cross stitch because today is my 2023 project parade. So these are the projects that are currently started and I am taking them into 2023 with me. There are a couple that I am thinking about not continuing, but for now I just have everything in here and then I'll work it out as I figure it out for 2023. If you're new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this parade. I know there's so many to watch. In fact, I have so many in my to be watched queue, so I know there's a lot there, so I appreciate you taking the time to watch mine. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for checking this out. I know some of these projects you will have seen recently in some of my other videos, but I figured sometimes people just watch the parades and don't watch the actual channels, so I thought I would do everything. I have 45 projects and I have 10 of them are full coverages and 35 of them are regular sized coverage, from teeny tiny all the way up to pretty large. So I did want to, in my mind, figure out those numbers because obviously the full coverages, there's none that I imagine would be a finish this year, but there's a lot in those other 35 that could be finishes. So let's jump right in because there's a lot to talk about. I am going to take them from the oldest project I have, the oldest start, and work my way all up to the newest start, closest that we have just had. And then Happy New Year. I do have a New Year, New Start, but I am not doing any of that until my next regular video. So you're only gonna see everything I started up through, I wanna say Christmas. Alrighty, so let's get going. The very first one, this was started in 2019, and this is from, it's called Christmasland, and it's from, and I always forget this, Raise the Roof Designs. And I recently questioned whether or not to restart this, and you guys were wonderful helping me with that, and I decided to keep it on the fabric. So this is the length of it, but I'm going to shorten it just because I don't have it that much done yet. I did find the fabric name on this. This would be called Mystic Gray, and it's an 18 count. So that's what it looks like. And I think I'll be happy with keeping it on that color. I think there are others that would be fun too if I was to restart it. An opal would be really kind of cool. I am potentially, the stray snowflakes that are in and about, I may change that up a little bit, but I have to find what I would be looking for before I did that. So I'm leaving them in for now. So that's where Christmasland is. This recently got a little bit of stitching time, and I know in January it is one of my squares on my Bringo board from the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge. So we'll see at least one day's work in January. Now the biggest problem that's going to be, I have 3 piles. I had to bring an extra tray. So normally I film with a TV tray table. I had to bring an extra one up next to me because there's just no room for all of this. So I'm going to do my best to find a way to put all of this down without making a huge mess. Okay, next. This is Kringles from Little House Needleworks. And I am making this, if you're new, this is going to be a 2-story building. I'm actually going to just move over just a little bit so I feel like I can, there we go, see you a little bit better. I am cutting out the middle row of the building, and then I will figure out what rooms I'm going to do at the end. So I'm going to build the structure first, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm really worried that the second row of projects is gonna, everything is starting to slide. Let's put that underneath like that. Maybe that'll stay. Okay, back to this. So this is where Kringles is. This is an 18 count, and I am looking down. Normally I have my notes up against the filming camera area, but I have 4 pages of notes. So I need to have it down here instead. This is 18 count Artemis from Bestitchme, and I am almost done with the building structure. And then I probably, once I get this room done, I'll probably build the chandeliers. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep the rooms as they are, or if I'm going to pick little pieces. I do want to keep the clock in the middle, so that would go there. So I could also do that room too first, and then make my decisions. This is where it is. I don't know if this would be a Christmas finish this year. I haven't figured that out. It is, I believe, on my Bringo board once once or twice this month. So it will get at least a day's work. I'm trying not to make a huge mess. So let's see if I can, how many I can pile there. Okay, so just as in my own mind, 2019 was Christmasland. It's the only thing from 2019 at this point. Kringles was started in May of 2020. So now we are into my 2020 pieces. I only have 4 that are still from 2020. So we are almost done with them. Kringles is probably by far my biggest, although the last one of the 4th is a lot of work too. This next one is Long May She Wave, stitching with the Housewives. So that's what it looks like. I'm kind of just stuck on the truck, to be honest with you. So this is where I'm at. This is done on an 18 count navy from Garibaldis, and it's actually a child's craft. It was one of the first hand dyeds that I had tried. So I didn't really know the difference between, I was getting back into cross stitch, you know, back when I stitched a long time ago, it was white or antique white or cream or black. So I didn't know Witchelt and Zweigart and all these things. And so I didn't know necessarily the difference between Charles Craft and Zweigart either for hand dyed. But I think this one's kind of cool with the dark navy without being a really, really dark. Now I did change up. I'm not one to really stitch chickens, so there'll be no chicken on top of the truck. And then down here, there's supposed to be a chicken standing on top of the flower. What I did was I made the flower a little bit taller, and I think I brought this down. I brought these down a little bit. So there's a very small area there, but not much. So I ended up, those are the only 2, let me looking. Yeah, those are the only 2 chickens in the pattern. So I think right now, in order to get back into this, I don't know if I should really do the back of the truck because I'm just really kind of struggling with all of the truck stitching. Maybe if I outline it, I don't know. I'm not sure what it'll take to get back to this one. I'm not sure this got much time in 2022. I'm not necessarily ready to ditch it as a project. I just need to figure out what will bring joy stitching it for me. So stay tuned. I'm not necessarily saying any project will not get stitched in 2023 because I don't have that many. I mean, 45 in my mind is not all that many, but I think by necessity some of them just may not because of course I'll have new starts too. So we'll see. I won't know that until the end of the year. Okay, now this one I know I didn't touch this year, and it's not by not liking it. This is Hands on Design Let's Talk Autumn, and that's what it looks like. I started this back in September of 2020, and at that point I was really into hand-dyed fabrics, which you know I still am if you're a regular friend, and I love this, but I hit a wall. So this is what it looks like. This fabric is by a hand dyer that I don't think is dyeing anymore. I had bought some fabrics from them a few times. It's really nice. You know, I'm an Aida stitcher, but then at the start of the pandemic, I think they kind of took a break, and then I'm not really sure. I don't think they've ever come back. I know it was hard to get fabric, so maybe it wasn't worth it for them. But the hand dyer is called Hand Dyed Happiness. And if I ever see them come back, I'll let you know because they really do have lovely Aida fabrics. I couldn't tell you about the others. So that's what I have so far. Now, my biggest problem was that in order to stitch on this, I had to change some colors. Quite a few of the leaves just didn't look right on this fabric. I love the white on here, and I like a lot of the other colors. And I hit a wall because I finally figured out, I've stitched this green like 3 times, all different colors. And I'd hit the wall. I finally decided I liked it, and then I never wrote down what it was. And I want to say I did the same thing with the orange, and then that here is, I can't remember what it's charted, but I found some colors I think I like, but I never wrote them down. So before I got the color card for DMC, I would have had to go with this to the store, and then of course they wouldn't have everything. I do have the color card now with the real flosses. So what I need to do is sit down and look at the book and really try to figure out what colors. I know I've been asked before for my colors, and I wish I could tell you. And once I figure it out, I will share. I don't have a problem with that. I was frustrated with myself because I hadn't taken notes. I hadn't paid attention to what I was doing, and I'd spent a lot of time on those colors. As you can see, a lot of other stuff is easy to stitch with this. And I even thought about skipping all the leaves and not doing that, but that would have, I think it would have been tough because there would have been empty spots. So I'm not ready to give up on this, but I do have to sit down, really sit down with the color card, DMC color card, and figure that out. I'm a little, like I said, I'm a little frustrated with myself, which is probably why this project sat for as long as it did, because I don't know what I'm doing for colors, and I'm a little frustrated with that. Okay, my last one for 2020, which was a start in December of 2020. I had the iPad quite a bit because I have a lot of different digitals. It is Christmastown by Stitchrovia, and that's what it looks like right here, or it will when it's finished. I really enjoy this pattern, but it is a lot of work. There are a lot of color changes. And you'll see, even though I'm 2 years into it, it's got work. Now, I did kind of put it aside for a while. I started stitching this before I kind of thought in my head I needed working copies, and that pretty much I ended up putting it aside for quite some time because it was just a lot. And then, because I never made working copies back 30 years ago, I just stitched what I saw. But then when I realized how useful working copies are, that really, really helped. Plus, I also can put this, I just zoom it. I have it stored in my Dropbox, and I just go to it and zoom it, and I'm able to stitch it that way too. So this is done on an 18 count, and it's called, no, it's not called anything. It's just a white opal, white opal aida. So that's it. It's nice and sparkly, which is really, really lovely. And that's where I am. It did get a little bit of time the end of this year, and I would like to, I'm not giving up on this project. I really enjoy this project. It's just a lot of work. So it's one of those projects that I need the mental focus in order to really pay attention, because I had already messed up at one point, and I had messed up top here, and I had stitched it in the wrong spot, and I tried to fudge it, but there's so much that builds off on each other on this that it was more trouble to rechart so many things to I just pulled it out. So I'm really, really careful with that when I stitch it, and I have to be really in the right frame of mind in order to stitch it so I don't mess up. So that is all from 2020. That's all that's left, just those 4 projects. I mean, 2 of which I kind of stalled on and really didn't get a lot of work. The other 2, the Christmas ones, have gotten some time. So at this point, those 4 are still going carried forward. I'm not looking to get rid of any of those. Okay, so now let's go into 2021. Moving on. Now, let's see here. I have so many tabs open in this. Let's see if I can do this without messing up. We're staying with Stitchrovia for a second, and this is on the beach. So we go from Christmas and winter to summertime. And in standard Stitchrovia fashion, it's wonderfully colorful and bright and fun, but a lot of color changes. So that's what it'll eventually look like. And let me show you where I am. And I go fits and spurts on this one. Sometimes I go and get a lot done, and then I don't pick it up for a long time. So let's bring it on up, see if I can show you. This is an 18 count beach sand from To Die For Fabrics. And I started this in January of 2021, and I'm pretty sure it was because it was probably cold and dreary and I wanted something beachy. In fact, if it snows here in Delaware, which we haven't gotten any so far, last year we got quite a bit, but I was told that that's unusual. We don't usually get that much snow, especially in one go-around storm. So we'll see. But this is my snow stitch. So if it snows, I'm going to stitch something summery to remind myself that summer is right around the corner and the warmer weather will be here before we know it. And days like today, it's actually over 50 degrees. And today is January 1st. So I am shocked. I'm not used to warm weather on New Year's Day. So that's where I am. I am almost at the point where I have all of the beach people and umbrellas done. I think pretty soon, I mean, there are some different other little things to stitch, but then pretty soon I'm getting into the water. Now the water is a full coverage chunk, but let me see, I'm looking at it. If you look at it, so there are a couple people in the water, but then there are also chunks of blue. So I feel like when I get to the water, oops, which way is up? This is, then maybe it'll move a little bit faster. But it's so much fun to stitch. I love all the little looks of it. And I like this fabric with it. I wanted something that kind of looked beachy. So this worked for me. All right. That is on the beach. Next, what's next? Okay, so this is my very first of my full coverages. And I did not know about heaven and earth designs and all of that when I first got going with full coverages. So my first two are actually from other places. This first one is from somebody on Etsy, and it's called Ocean Village 1, and the Etsy person is Maxispatterns, and that's what it looks like. This individual, they sell a lot of, do you notice how the colors are more subdued? And it's a little bit more, I don't want to say the word abstract, but it's definitely, the lines are softer and so on. They have a lot of those kind of patterns. There's actually an Ocean Village too. And I had grand plans, oh, I'll stitch one and then I'll stitch two. Well, we'll see if one gets done first. I'm still stuck up in this top corner. All my full coverages, I start in the upper left corner. So that's what it's going to eventually look like. If you've not been a stitchy friend and watched anything before, my full coverages I treat as just enjoyable stitches. I'm not necessarily thinking that they'll all get done at any given time. I'm a process stitcher anyway. Most of my stitching will end up in a scrapbook and won't be out and about anyway. So that's how I'll end up finishing it. So that's where we are. So again, I haven't gotten anything into some of the more colorful aspects of it. This one did not get any time in 2022. Not that I didn't pick it up and try with it. The problem was, this is my first full coverage, and I actually tried eventually. This was also before I really discovered working copies. I tried to do something like this without any working copy or online or anything. Yeah, that didn't last long. You can imagine that was a disaster. So then I have the working copy, but I've kind of confused myself with what's stitched and what's marked. So, and of course now we're getting into more confetti. So I have to kind of do a little housekeeping and clean up what I've stitched and figure out what I've stitched. So I don't want to give it up. I like it, and I would really love to get into some of the actual village stuff as we get down farther. It's a good enough size. So I mean, that's the length of my fabric. It's not my biggest full coverage, but it's a good size. So hopefully maybe in this coming year, in 2023, we will get some time with that one. I think though the grand plan of 1 and 2 getting stitched, not really sure about that. Alrighty, next one. This was, I want to say these next two were started, yeah, they were started in May. I don't remember what my May theme was in 2021. In 2020 was the first time I kind of did the whole May events, and I think I did bigger projects, which Kringle is the last one left that I didn't do. I think here I might have picked more fallish sort of projects for autumn, and I started Cinnamon Stars from Plum Street Samplers that May. Now if you've hung around any amount of time, you would know that I actually started Betsy's Autumn after this, and I've actually already finished Betsy's Autumn. I actually do prefer it a little bit better, but I think of Betsy's Autumn and Cinnamon Stars as two kind of companion autumn pieces. So they're stitched on the same color fabric, and I've stalled here because I've also realized as I've done more and my tastes have evolved, I like the brighter colors at times. And some of the alternative DMCs for this, they're definitely more brown. And brown pumpkins, Prairie Schooler does the same thing. I just can't do brown pumpkins. Where I come from, they're nice and bright and cheery and they're fun to have out. They're not brown. If they're brown, that means the season's over and they're yucky. So this is where I got to. And I was down here, and at first it was funny because I thought that was actually some sort of flower thing. And then I thought about it and said, oh, that's a pumpkin. And then there's a whole row of pumpkins. And I want to say the next row, there's a row up top on the fence, and they're brown. So what I wanted to do is take the pumpkin color from Betsy's Autumn, especially because I think these would go in a 2-page scrapbook spread. So how perfect would that be in the sense of side by side? If they're the same colors, it would kind of match a little bit more. But I made the mistake of not writing one of them down. So I do have to go back again with my color book and figure it out. I may pull this pumpkin out. I'm not really sure, especially if I want to match the colors with Betsy. So I think that will be my only color changes with it. I think the rest I would keep. I feel like Betsy might be a tiny bit brighter, but Betsy's Autumn is also more of these shades of color, so I don't think I would change it too much. This is an 18 count honey amber from Fabrics by Stephanie. And that's what Betsy's Autumn is stitched onto. So it's getting there, but it definitely did stall. Again, a lot of these projects that didn't see some time last year, because I don't think Cinnamon Stars got taken out at all in 2022. I focused on Betsy instead. Are not for lack of wanting to stitch them, but potentially changing things up, especially to make them a bit more enjoyable for me color-wise and taste-wise. So that's why that stalled. Again, I think what I need to do is just pull all these together, pull out the color card book one day, and just sit down and try to do all of them at once. I just want to stitch though, so I hate to take away time from stitching. Now this one I may not continue. I want to show it to you. And it's not that I don't like it. It's Autumn Avenue from Little Stitch Girl. And it's super cute. But I don't know. It didn't see any time this year and I just wasn't feeling the call to stitch it. So this is the length of it. I'm just going to fold it over and show you this side. And that's what I have so far. This is done on an 18 count Snirt by Mystic Fabrics. And this was also started in May of 2021. And I like the fabric, and I like there's a little bit of movement in the actual hand dyeing, so I kind of like that. But I think partly I didn't like the alternative colors for the trees. So I skipped that and started with the house instead. And the white of the kind of the wind is a little bit subtle here. I don't mind it necessarily, but there's just something about this pattern. Maybe I just need to get back and stitch it because it's cute. I wouldn't do the words. I would just do the actual houses. But I have a bunch of houses. I have a bunch of fall or Halloween. And so I just have to make the decision whether or not I want to keep any more. I mean, I could ultimately just finish that house and call it a day. Maybe do one tree or something. That could be an option. So this one is definitely in the, I am 50-50 on the fence with this one. I really don't know if this one will continue. We'll see. I had thought for sure I wasn't going to stitch it, just thinking about my projects. And then when I was pulling everything out and getting everything ready and I looked at it, I said, well, it's cute. And I like the colors and all. So that kind of talked me off of completely getting rid of it, but I'm just not sure where I am in regards with it. So we'll see. Okay, next. Let me X out of that. My next piece, I think my goal here is a house a year. So I finished the first house last year, and this year I'd like to get the second one done, and then maybe next year the third. So this is called Sawan in Salem, and it is Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. I stitched the Christmas set of 3, and I stitched them as one complete set, and I'm stitching these as one complete set too. The only change I'm going to make is I'm not going to put any words. It is charted to either say Sawan in Salem or Halloween in Salem. You can do either one. I really like that fence, so I'd like the fence all the way across. So that's the only change I'm making on that. Otherwise, I'm keeping her colors. Let me show you as a whole. This is the piece. I think I'll be a little tight on this margin, but this will be scrapbooked. I already have cut down the Christmas one to be put in the scrapbook. So that would just be, I would just do a spread, you know, 2 different, like a 2-page spread, 1 on each page. So this fabric is an 18 count old library marble, and it's from Dove Stitch. Let me fold it over. So this is a fabric flare. It's a printed fabric, not a hand dyed. So that's what it looks like close up. And I really made a big push this year. I want to say might have been in October. I can't remember now. When was this started? This was May. So this was also a May. Yep. So Cinnamon Stars, Autumn Avenue, and this was started in May. So that probably was my May theme in 2021. I did quite a bit. I want to say, so the roof the roof wasn't even completely done. I'd say about that much was done. And then I did all of this year. So I'm really proud of myself. I really did make a good push on this. And so I think trying to choose, these are big houses. These are not small houses. I don't know how Julie stitched them so fast when she got them ready after she had charted them. It's amazing, but they are big houses. So I think a house a year would be a bit more realistic for me than trying to say, oh, I'm going to get this done completely next year. And I did try to put it a little bit on this fabric to get some of the, you know, the look of that. This would also really look good on a kind of spooky-ish gray. I didn't have anything at the time, and I thought this went nicely. And then I will probably leave some of the top just to show some of the actual color and kind of nuance of the fabric. I really like to use the fabric to the best effect if I can, especially if these are going in a scrapbook. I don't have to worry about, I can have borders that are tighter on some sides and not on all 4 sides if I want. So I think that's what I'll do with that one. All right, now this next one, as it stands, as it is, I'm not keeping this, but I'm not giving up on the pattern itself. I just think I'm going to cut it down, which it's already small. So you're going to say, how much more are you going to cut it down? This is from Summer House Stitchworks. It was #1, Tales from the Sea, Fragments in Time, 2021. I don't have all of these of this entire set, but I do have several. This was the first one I stitched, and I started and I was doing great, and I just don't enjoy it, to be honest with you. This is what it looks like. And it is done on an 18 count, where am I? Cream from Dove Stitch. So it's another printed fabric. And I don't know if it's, I know like I would have to stitch this corner 4 times, and I'm just not enjoying it. What I really like out of this is the whale tail. So I'm wondering if there's a way that I can just do this portion and just have a really cute, wouldn't that be cute if I could do something like that? And if I keep my Hirschner's tree, it would be a really cute summer ornament. So I'm not giving up on this pattern, but I am giving up on this project. And I think I would do it, I could do probably a nice fun blue of some sort instead. Given all these colors, I like the cream, but I don't think it's necessary moving forward. So as it stands, that project is going to be taken out of my rotation, and I don't necessarily know if this year I will stitch that small piece, but I am not going to get rid of it. And I'm not going to get rid of some of the other ones, because instead of stitching them with the borders and all that, I might take just the small pieces out of them and see what I can do with that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, next is the second full coverage that I started. Again, not a Heaven and Earth, which obviously there are more as well. and if I think about it, I'll mention my regular videos too, but if you are on Facebook, there is a brand new group. It's 4 full coverage designers: Charting Creations, Cross Stitch Studio, Everything Cross Stitch, and I think Pain Free Crafts. And they have started a fantastic Facebook group. And sometimes they're offering special sales and just a lot of different fun stuff. And they seem like really great designers. I haven't stitched anything from any of those 4, but I've looked at some of their shops and they have beautiful work. So if I think about it, I'll mention it again in my regular videos for any friends who want to look at that. But if you're a full coverage stitcher, that would be a fun place to be. This one was my second full coverage. So I picked this up. It's kind of reminiscent of, say, Amy Stewart from Heaven and Earth. This actual shop is called The Easy Stitch. It's really kind of funny because it is just 1 X at a time. I get it. And it's just all X's. But it's so elaborate and full of confetti. It's called Christmas Tales. So it's reminiscent of her bookshelves, and there's all different types of Christmas things on there, from Elf on the Shelf to, you know, gingerbread houses. There's a Santa, there's a Grinch. There's all sorts of really wonderful, great things. But that much of a fun project means a ton of confetti. I didn't know what I was getting into when I'd started that. Again, I was new to full coverage. Ocean Village one, I'm getting into some more confetti, but at the beginning there was wider swaths of color. This one you almost do a stitch or 2 and then you have to switch colors again. So needless to say, I didn't get very far with it. This is all I've got. This is an 18 count white Aida. Now for all of my full coverages, and I forgot to mention it with Ocean Village, I'm doing 2 strands over 1 full cross. That's all of them, all 10. That's how I'm treating them. So that's how far I got. Again, I attempted to do this at first without any type of working copy or anything. Well, that was a complete disaster. And the back of this is so full already because you're changing colors all the time. I think what I want to try to do, this did not get any work in 2022. I think I was so burnt out with all the confetti and overwhelmed. If out of my 10 full coverages, there was one that would get put aside, it probably would be this one. It's so cute though, and really lovely. I hate to do that, but I think what I would try to do is find some colors and carry them if I can. If I can find a different way, this would be a really good one, probably to put on Markup RXP, so I could really kind of hone in on a color and see if I can carry it around. I don't understand the concept of the whole diagonals, and I kind of like just me picking a color and going. So I think that's how I would continue with my full coverages, but I need to find a better way with this one because it's so stop and start. Now, also, this was in 2021. I have now spent a whole nother year in 2022 stitching full coverages. So I feel like I'm a bit more, I'm not going to say I'm like super experienced, but I have some more experience with it. So approaching this project might be different if I were to take it out now. So I'm not ready to say it's going, but it's definitely at the bottom of my 10 if there was one to go. But I'm going to give it a few more tries before I do anything like that. I think I want to give it a chance. I'm not just going to write it off. Okay, next. We're going into some of the ones that I've struggled with. And this one's beautiful. And it's a shame it's a struggle for me. This is called The Earth Laughs, and it's Jan Hicks Creates. And it's a beautiful design. In person, I even like it more. It is charted in Cosmos, although there is a DMC alternative. And for the heck of it, I found the Cosmos threads. They're not super expensive. I think it was maybe like 90 cents a skein versus the DMC, maybe $1. I don't remember. But she doesn't, there's not a lot in here. So I said, I'll give it a try. Now, what got me though is I wanted it a specific size, which probably I still needed that size. So in order to do that, I had to do it on 20 count. This is a 20 count. Let me see here. I got to flip my page. Wait a minute. Let me go to page 2. for my notes. All right. This is a 20 count ice blue from To Dye For Fabrics. So it's a beautiful blue. I really like how the colors really are show up on it, but I have to use one strand. And I am not a fan of one strand stitching, I've realized. I really am not. I find that the threads shred easily, so I have to use a really small length, which means you're stitching for just a short period of time, and then you are having to start all over again, which is, I like to do my loop method for the two. Going back, if I had to do this again, I might have tried it with the 2 strands to see what it likes, because I don't mind the fuller coverage, the fluffier coverage. I do 2 on 18 count all the time. And I did, thanks to, I think it's Needlebug. She has a tutorial about how to do a loop start with 1 strand. And that was a lifesaver for me in order to do this. So that's what got me so far. And I love it. And I love the colors. And the Earth Laughs in Flowers is one of my most favorite. I used to make a lot of, I had that saying in a rubber stamp, and I used to make cards with that in flowers, and I really enjoy that. So there's no reason why I shouldn't. I just need to get back to it and just resign myself to the 1 strand and just keep at it. Maybe I set myself some goals or whatever with this one, because it's too easy to flip past it because of the 1 strand dilemma. But it's just so beautiful. I mean, it's a shame. It really is a shame that I don't know if it saw any time in 2022. I'm not ready to give up on it. I think it's a beautiful pattern, and I think it looks lovely on this fabric. I am just need to figure out how to reconcile myself with 1 strand stitching. And that's the reason why this next piece, which is a tiny piece, there's no reason it shouldn't be done, but it's exactly the reason why this piece is where it is. This was started in August of 2021, and it should have been done by the end of 2021, to be honest with you. It is Maryland Blue Crab from Ardith Designs, and that's what it looks like. And when she came out with this, I bought the whole kit. The kit came with 18 count fabric that she had hand dyed, so I was like, well, that right there is a sign. She had dyed the thread. It's actually a silk, which is the one and only project I have that I'm using silk, and it's super cute. It came with like the backing for a pillow and all that, which, you know, I don't do pillows, but I think it's beautiful. In fact, I don't know if I think I just got the pattern of the second one. I don't think I got the full kit. But she has a series of them, and it's just, they're really fun and really lovely. And this is all I have to show for myself. And again, so obviously it's a hand dyed silk, and a certain amount came with the kit, and the directions were to stitch 1 strand. Now, obviously it's enough thread for 1 strand of stitching, so I wasn't going to do double strand. So the reason why this one is also stalling is because it's the 1 strand stitching. And it's really a shame, because it's a lovely pattern. And maybe I just do, at some point, just get the crab done. And then, you know, at least feel like I've accomplished something with it. I don't even know. I think this is the right side up. I'm not even sure. I have to go back to the pattern. So that's what it looks like. That is an 18 count, like I said. And it was part of the kit. I don't know, I don't think the kits are available, but I do think the patterns are available still on Ardith Designs website. So that one's a shame. That's on me. I'm not ready to give it up because it's small, but again, it comes down to the 1 strand stitching. Those are the only 2 projects I'm doing 1 strand on, and I really don't know if I would purposely do 1 strand again because of the fact that I'm not a huge fan of it. Okay, next. This one was started multiple times, but it was it was started in December of 2021. So I jumped from August starts of 2021 to December of what's left. All of my autumn starts in 2021 have been finished. This is called Christmas Eve from the Prairie Schooler. And I had originally started on a darker fabric, and it was an opal. but it was not the right color, and the called for colors weren't showing up properly. So I was having to rechart all the colors, and I just wasn't loving it. So I stopped. I hadn't gotten a lot done. I've got a lot more done on this. And I pulled out this, and it's called Chinchilla, and it's from Mystic Fabrics. It's so pretty. I really think this, I think this will be nice as the fabric, you know, with the reindeer kind of flying over the village. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The only thing I have changed on this is his face. Prairie Schooler faces are too purpley for me. And so I did change that. Otherwise, it's all the called for colors. And that's where I am on that. I don't know if this will get done by next Christmas. I definitely enjoy it much more now that I've restarted it. So we'll see. It could get some more time. I'm just going to put that right in here so that we don't lose everything. This pile is getting bigger and bigger here, but I keep rotating. So hopefully it'll stay. All right, now, next. This is my next full coverage. This was my first Heaven and Earth design. And this was before I kind of paid attention to minis versus regular sizes. And so I lucked into this because it's not a huge, huge regular size, but it's not classified as a mini. It's just, what is it? It's 425 by 318. And it is Hidden Harbor. So it's charted by Heaven and Earth, and the artwork is by Andy Russell. And I recently had a scare with this one. With the margin, but you've all set my mind at ease, and so I am not giving up on this project. That's all right. So that's what it looks like. It's not all the way across, but just think about it. Here's the margin, and so it still has a ways to go yet. But that's what I've got on it. And I did stitch on this a little bit yesterday. It's funny because I stitched over here on this end, and then I went all the way over here and stitched down here. So as far as I could possibly go. But this one, I love the colors. Those are all fabulous. And then you come in here and the greens are so much fun as well. I can't see, there we go. So I love this one, and I would have been heartbroken because I'm not sure I would have restarted it and stitched after all this work. But that's where Hidden Harbor is. And I will pick this one up for the next 10 days. This is going to be my 10-day rotation for the next 10 days. So you should be seeing some of that in my next regular video. All right, we are on to the next pile, the second pile here. The next one is Love Boat Sampler from Ardith Designs. I just love the colors in this one. It is so pretty. And I did like it on a pink. So I did find a pink to work it on. So it did kind of keep with. It's not the called for color, but it's close. And that's what it looks like. Now this is, where is it in my notes? It's an 18 count light-hearted, and the hand dyer is dying for cross stitch. Super pretty. I love her colors. Her aida is a little bit looser, and I think that's part of what got stopped me from continuing on this one. It's so pretty, and it's not huge. Obviously, look at, that's it. But I was having a little bit trouble making my stitches really kind of feel right. So, and the other thing is a few different places on the design. I don't know if it's on purpose or accidental, but things don't necessarily match up. And again, I don't know if it's purposely done or not. So I've kind of been having to go back and look in a few places and try to figure out, because the picture sometimes is a little different than the pattern. So it's not that bad. It's not, you know, it's not a huge deal. And I probably should just go look and see if there's any notes on our website about it. But I think that's part of what I made a bigger deal in my head than it is. But am I the only one that makes mountain out of molehills? I don't know. I sometimes do that. I overthink things. It's beautiful though. So I really should get back to it. And now that I have those Nurge hoops, if I wanted to, I could put this one in a hoop and see how it would stitch up. And it might be a little bit easier for me. Her colors are so beautiful though. They really are. So I do enjoy stitching on that when I do I enjoy the color and all of the colors of the threads with the project. All right, so now the next one. The next one I need to do a little work on in the sense of some color ideas. So this is a freebie, and it's from Stone Street Stitchworks, and you can find it on their blog. It's called Flowers in a Window, and mine is nothing what this is going to look like. So back in March of 2022, there was a lot of designers have patterns that you could stitch in support of Ukraine and using the Ukrainian colors. And I stitched one from Modern Folk Embroidery, and I got that one completely finished. And I used the same flosses I'm going to use for this. The only thing on this is I don't know if I'm going to add just another color in for the vase, for the, the vase or whatever you want it, the planter at the bottom, I suppose you should say, and the actual branches and leaves and stuff, or if I want to keep it with the two colors and kind of figure it out. So this is all I have with it because I don't know color wise, and I kind of get, this is a huge border. It's way bigger than you think it is as a freebie. It is done on 18 count Shirley from Fortnite Fabrics. And like I said, I used the same blue and the same yellow in my piece from Modern Folk Embroidery. So I want to get the border done first and then kind of figure out what I'm doing for colors. I think it'll look really pretty. I want to say what made me think of it was Stone Street themselves might have shown a more colorful version of this sometime around then. And I said, oh, that would be great. They might have even done the yellow and the blue colors and shown it because of that. I don't remember. So I just need to sit down and figure out the colors on that one. But it is a freebie if you were interested on stitching it as well. And you could do any color. I mean, you really could just have fun with that and do any colors you want. All right, next. This one was originally started in 2019, but I nixed that color. So back in March of 2022, I restarted it. So that's why I have it listed as a 2022 start. And it's McChristmas from Cariad Cross Stitch Designs. They are on Facebook. And I am so happy I restarted it because I really love this color. This is an 18 count. It's Lotus from Bestitchme. So it's a very pale lilac pinkish color. And this is where I am. And I am so ever grateful I discovered the idea of working copies because I have almost about the same amount. I'm a little bit farther now than my original stitch. I had started it on cream. And I did all of this without a working copy. And I think that's why I got burnt out on it. So now it's so much easier with a working copy. That's where he is. So I do have several like bigger Christmas ones, which is why I think they all kind of get a little bit of time. But I haven't figured out which ones I want to focus on 100%. So he'll get done eventually. I don't necessarily think it'll be a 2023 Christmas finish, but I could get another amount of parts of him done if I just keep at it. So that's that. Alrighty. Next, we are on number 20. Look at that, even number. All right, this one is my largest project, and it is a full coverage. I purposely did choose the regular over the mini because I just liked the coloring better. And it is Little Red Riding Hood. It's Heaven and Earth Designs, and it's, let me make sure I had the artist right. I think it's Anya Kai. Oh, this is the pack, so it doesn't say. I'm almost sure it's Anya Kai. If I had to, I'll have everything listed. So if you wanted to know, if you can't find it listed, I'll let you know. You can reach out to me. So that's what it looks like. And it is huge. This one may never get finished. It'll just be fun to get to her. So this is, let me show you, this is half of the fabric. It's twice as tall as that. So clearly this is a piece that if this ever gets finished, it will be amazing. This is just more, I enjoy the process. So that's where I am with that. If I don't even think, because I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on the actual Max Color material pack. So that doesn't tell me the actual size on it, but it's a huge piece. But while there is some confetti, there are nice chunks of color. So it once you get in a groove, you can get into the groove. I do stitch in hand though, and so stitching this, there's a lot of fabric to corral. I think sometimes that's my biggest problem with that, to be honest with you. Alrighty, moving on. My next one is I had discovered this designer this year. Again, I think I was looking for Ukrainian designers to support them. And let me show you the full set first. This is I have 2 different gnomes going from this designer, and I have a third one I'm potentially starting this winter. This is Summer Gnomes. Actually, is that what it's actually called? Sunflower Gnomes, Summer Gnomes. I don't know. In my notes, I call it Summer Gnome 2. I'm working on the middle guy. So if I make him bigger. Now, on the pattern itself, or from the picture, the hat looks a little bit more orangey than you're going to see in person. But that's what it looks like. And I am got good progress on this one. I'm really proud of myself on how far we've gotten on this. So that's where he is. These are big. These are not small little gnomes. This is done on an 18 count. It's an unnamed fabric from Coffee Craft Fabrics. Coffee Crafts Fabrics or Craft Fabrics. Again, information will be below. I always forget if there's an extra S on the word craft. Coming up close. So except for a stray stitch somewhere in here, 1 or 2 stray stitches, that's all completely done. This side is almost done. So this right here is, I want to say the bottom. I'm not stitching the box around it. And I had originally thought I was going to stitch the circle kind of, it's not really a shadow, but kind of the grounding circle that the gnome was on. But I don't think I'm going to. I think it's just fine. These will be scrapbooked. So I think it'll be just fine without it. But that is pretty much getting to the bottom of the gnome with the feet. So you can see we're getting there. Now there is a decent amount of confetti in here. This is all DMC, but look at the colors are so beautiful. I really love how they do that, but it just means a lot of color changes. But it didn't stop me from starting a second and potentially a third. So that's where that one is. That one could get done next year. Well, when I was looking through these, I started to think about what could be done next year and what would be carried on probably to 2024. And I feel like this one could most definitely be a 2023 finish. All right, I think this pile is getting almost to its max, so I might have to do something else instead. Okay, and my iPad has frozen. Let's see if I can, there we go. I don't know why, oh, there we go. Okay, because I wanted to show you, oh, no, this one, you know, I ended up not getting the digital picture, so I'm just going to show you this. It doesn't do any justice to it. This is from Cressetta Go-Go, and it's poppies. I don't know the actual, that's the actual name of it. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. I've done one of these already, these flowers. I think there's 3 in the set that have that, see that really pretty lace border? I think she has 3 of those. This is my second one, and that's what it looks like. This is done on an 18 count Old West from Color and Cotton. And I really love how those colors pop on this. So I purposely did choose more of a neutral. I really wanted the delicate lace border to show up. The previous one I did, I believe it's not the same neutral, but it is along the lines of this kind of neutral. And I really liked the look of it. This one here, I think it's just, and the border is repeating, but I kind of got burnt out of border and white stitching, to be honest with you. So then I ended up doing more of this. And what I have to be careful of is I could see doing all the poppies, but then being left with border. So I think I need to do some border and then stitch some flower and go back and forth. Otherwise, this one could end up being stuck and not being done. So I really like that. It's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of I have to be disciplined to do the border stitching. Next This one is, after I finished Lady Halloween from Jardin Privé, I wanted another kind of large, fun piece. This is way different colors. And so I found Serena Sprout. I think it had come out around when I was finishing Lady Halloween. And this is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I loved it. And so I replaced my Lady Halloween stitch along with a Serena Sprout stitch along. And Serena's getting there, but she is big. She's got a lot involved with her. There's a lot of stitching that goes along with her. So this is what she looks like. And there is a hashtag Serena Sprout SAL with this one. This is an 18 count honeydew melon from To Dye For Fabrics. It is a favorite green of mine. And if we come up close, that's where we are. So I have a huge chunk of stitching still here, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that gets filled in everywhere. So we've got some work on this one yet. This one's not going to be done anytime soon. Now, then we had a rash of full coverages you're going to see. Last May, I did a Merry Minnie May. And so I did small pieces, and then I did mini full coverages. And I would switch and start one every week for those two types of projects. All of my little mini minis have been finished, and the Marys and all of that. That was all finished, but obviously none of the full coverages are finished or will be anytime soon. This first one is Mini Paris Morning. It is artwork by Uliana Babenko, and it's a Heaven and Earth design. I love the colors in this one. This is the colors, and the little dog are what drew this one that drew me to it. And yep, that's where you see the fold. That's as much stitching as I've gotten done. But this is also pretty much at the edge of the border. There's a little bit left here, but you can see it's not super wide. It is just a taller and longer one, but we are almost done all the way across. I love the colors in this one. I still enjoy it. I got a little bogged down with some of the confetti here, which is why I've come across. And I have learned about myself that I pick some confetti, I do it, then I pick an area where I can do a block of color, and I kind of go back and forth, and that helps me get through it without getting burnt out on it. So that's where that one is. Certainly has a ways to go, but doable. Then the next full coverage I started when it was in May. Okay. I was thinking it was a different one coming up, but nope, that makes sense. This is Mini Sunflower Cottage. The artwork is by Donna Gelsinger, and it is a Heaven and Earth. So that's what that one looks like. And the bright colors, I mean, really, it is so fun and bright and cheery that that's what brought me to this one. And here we go. So this one is probably one of my smaller ones. So that's the length of the fabric. And it is done across the way, the top. That's as wide as it's going to be. Now, I've been doing a lot of the chunk of color. Once I start working my way down, I've got way more confetti. It'll probably go slower, but I feel like I got a good amount done at this point with this. And I still have, you know, each side I have a whole bunch of blue, and then you get things mixed in, and then this starts the cottage kind of area. So again, so much fun to stitch. I really enjoy it. I really am enjoying full coverage stitching. I don't think I would do just full coverage stitching, but I understand the appeal of it. I really do enjoy it. Okay, this next one's a tall one too. I think I did a stretch of tall ones here. Next one is called Mini Peridot. The artwork is by Rachel Anderson, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I have a few of these, and I started with the Peridot because August is Megan's birthday. So, you know, I was like, well, which one do I want to start with? And I like green. So that's where this one is. And that, again, that's how far down I've gotten. Now this one, once I get into the middle, there are some huge chunks of stitching. I think it'll go faster, but there is a lot of confetti on the edges. So I'm definitely bogged down in confetti right now. But I'm really interested to get to the middle and see some of the brighter greens. I'm curious because I feel like this is a little darker than the picture, but I don't know if part of that is just the screen or if it just comes out looking a little bit different when you start stitching it versus the picture. So that's Mini Peridot. And in 2023, I do think I'm just going to continue my 10-day rotations. And maybe I'll throw in some full coverages other places. I know on my Bringo board, there is one of the numbers was to stitch on your largest piece, which is Red Riding Hood. So I know she'll get at least 100 stitches on that day. And then she might get put away until she comes into a 10-day rotation. So there might be things here and there where you'll see more full coverages, but I'm not giving up all of my other ones because I love my variety of projects. And then this is the last one I started in May. So I had 4 mini full coverages started in May. And this one's called Minnie Watching the World Go By Lucy Pitaway. I love her designs. They're so cute and whimsical, and I love the colors. I just think it's so much fun. I haven't gotten very far though, so we have a ways to go on this one. I haven't gotten to all of the really lovely colors below. I am in sky and cloud still. And to get that beautiful kind of shading with the clouds, you do have the confetti. But I think once I get below that, I mean, obviously the sky, there's not much of anything. Every once in a while, a stray piece. But, and I have a whole bunch of sky, and then I have clouds on this side. But then as we get down, I think it'll go faster. So it certainly has a ways to go. It is small in my recollection. That's it. That's my piece of fabric. So in relation to some of my other full coverages, obviously in general, it's still a full coverage. It's large, but it is a 225 by 225. I mean, come on. I think some of those modern folk embroidery samplers are bigger than that. So that's what that looks like right there. So yeah, I like that one. Again, I love the mix of the bright colors and the darker colors to the almost monochromatic. It's not from Red Riding Hood, and then one that you'll see coming up. So the variety I really enjoy, and I love being able to pick from different ones. Some are more confetti heavier than others. So I think that's what'll keep me enjoying the full coverage as well. All right, this next one I took a break from just because I'm kind of burnt out from Christmas stitching right now. And it's the Prairie Schooler Santa's Revisited 2. I have done, so I think this one is 1991, which is this one up here. I've already stitched this one and this one. And I've stitched a few other Prairie Schooler Santas. So I think after this, we might take a Prairie Schooler Santa break. I'm kind of, tired's the wrong word, but I want to do some other things. So that's what it looks like. It is on an 18 count jade from Picture This Plus, as all of my Prairie Schooler Santas are. And his face is different than, say for example, that one's done, than that one because of the cuff of his coat and things. But I did change all of the faces on the Santas because again, they're almost mauvish purple, and it just, I didn't really care for it. So that's what I have. But he's gone on break for now, so you won't see him for a little while. He might be a good one for, say, Christmas in July, and maybe aim for a finish for him then. I have made 2 ornaments from Prairie Schooler Santas, and so these would probably be made into ornaments, probably in the same design as those, which would be kind of neat. Just I use pattern paper for those as opposed to fabric, and I enjoyed it, so I might do that. All right, this one is getting close to a finish. This is definitely a 2023 finish for me. It is Sailing Dreams from Barbara Anna Designs. So that's what it looks like. And as usual, I kind of went my own way with fabric. So that's where it is. And this is 18 count Night Fever from Fortnite Fabrics. I've kept all of the call for colors. I've just changed the fabric. So this is most definitely I'm giving myself a note. What I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to take these notes and I'm going to mark up the ones that I definitely would like to see a finish this year. And this is one of them. No reason. I mean, everything up top is done. I'm down here and then back stitching and the like. So really no reason why that one shouldn't be finished. And that is page 2 of my notes done. All right. Page 3 is projects, and then page 4 was just some statistics. So technically I only have 3 pages of notes. This next one, if you're a regular friend, you know you've seen this one recently. It's Spring Birds from Country Cottage Needleworks. So that's what it looks like. And this is what it looks like here. And that's done on an 18 count Spacious Skies from Color and Cotton. And I did change out the green up top. I think I don't know if it was a DMC alternative and it just wasn't working for me. So I did change that up. So that's what it looks like. That did get recent time. So I want to say that was probably my last video, my last regular Flosstube video. You probably saw that. All right, this one's most definitely a finish for 2023. It's Forest from Satsuma Street. It's currently my 25/7 piece, so I stitch on it for 25 minutes a day, 7 days a week, and that's where it is. And this is an 18 count Friendship Green from Fabrics by Stephanie. This also is on my Bringo board for one of the days, and on the board itself, it says, I think you could have done whatever you wanted, but their suggestion was 100 stitches a day. So I did keep that with each prompt. So this one of the days when it's called, we'll get 100 stitches. Now, if that number isn't called till near the end of the month, this one could be finished by then, because I really have one big tree and one small tree left. So that one, you'd be surprised if you haven't tried. I know there's like 30 minutes a day, I think, a stitch group, one strand a day. This one is 25/7 cross stitch. I usually link it in my regular videos, or I give the name of it for the Facebook group. And it's really been a game changer. It's really helped me a lot. All right, this one was started in August, and it doesn't have, actually it has more done than I thought it would. It's called The Little Cottage from Hands On Design. I did change up the colors. I didn't go beach theme with this one. I could have used beach sand again, but I did something totally different. And that's what it looks like. This is 18 count Purple Haze from To Die For Fabrics. I love it. I absolutely love it. I did not stitch. This sign is all supposed to be stitched in a variegated white, but I like it with just the purple background and the words. Now those 3 cottages will have a lot of changes, floss changes, so that could take a little while, but this is on for one day. It is on my Bringo board, so you will see it in January, and there's no reason why that can't be a finish in 2023. This one could too, now that I've gotten the major part of it done. This is Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. I am stitching this with Sarah's Stitches, and we're doing it as a stitch along, so feel free if you wanted to. Sarah and I are doing it differently though, in the sense that neither one of us are doing the border and neither one of us are doing the alphabet. So if you look at this piece right here, that's what both of us have chosen to do. Sarah is doing it on a fabric that she dyed herself. She's a fantastic hand dyer for her fabrics. I really love when she does that, to see what she does. I am not that good, so I did use a hand dyed, but it's not dyed by me. I did go completely different than her though, so it's really neat, because if you want to see hers, and she just had her parade recently, and you can see hers and then you can see mine, and they're two very different. What we need to do is put them somehow or other, take a picture of both of them and then put them up somehow. But that's how big the piece is, because this is an 18 count, where am I? Bewitched from To Die For Fabrics. And I mean, I feel like now, once I've finished the cat and the moon, then the rest of it should go faster, because now we have the house and some of the things on each side. I did have to change the green color because it just completely blended into this purple. So there is one DMC change. I am using all DMCs though. So that's what it looks like. So that will definitely, well, you'll see it in January because it has one square on my board, my Bringo board, and then it really should get a finish in 2023. I don't see why it couldn't. This one's definitely going to finish. So the big piece is called A Cup of Cheer from Shannon Christine Designs. I think these would be adorable, each one stitched as an ornament. I started with this guy. So this guy right here is what I'm focused on. So that's all you're gonna see. And here he is. Isn't he cute? He is in an 18 count opal ice blue from To Die For Fabrics. It's a beautiful, beautiful, fun, sparkly opal. He'll get done in January. I think what I'd like to do is try to do at least an ornament a month. I don't necessarily think I'll finish them, fully finish them, but I'll stitch one a month, maybe more. I don't know. I've been looking at some patterns and I said, oh, that would be a good ornament to stitch for this year, and that one would be a good one. So you might see more. Maybe in May I'll do some sort of ornament stitching. Who knows? We'll see. But he's a 2023 finish for sure. This one most likely will be too. This is from Jardin Privé and it's called Summer Quaker. I'm doing all 4 of the Quakers. I have spring finished. I have not started autumn, and I have started winter. And I'm going to stitch them within their season, although with spring being finished, I could, if I finish winter, well, it doesn't really matter. Once spring starts, I'll pull out summer. So summer will get done this year. And it is done on an 18 count My Sunshine from Bestitchme. Let me see. Summer Quaker, Bestitchme. Yes, this is a Bestitchme fabric. So that's what it looks like at a distance. If you have not watched my videos before, I'm stitching all 4 of them with the same 823 DMC, but I'm choosing 4 bright fabrics, and they will be scrapbooked in 2-page scrapbook layouts. So that's where that one is. I'm almost at the halfway point, not quite. But being monochromatic, they go by really quickly. I enjoy stitching them so much. I love the little, I'm really enjoying Quakers and that idea, and I'm loving all of the different symbols, and I think I can see more of that in my future. Really like that. And I really like having monochromatic pieces. I find that I wouldn't stitch on them exclusively, but they really are nice to throw in with my stuff. This is also a monochromatic. I started this, so now we have 4 that were started in October. For the most part in 2022, except for the full coverages, many of the pieces I started, I did get done. But at the end of the year, between October, November, and December, I did have like a rash of starts, I should say. Now this is small, so it shouldn't be that long of a stitch. It's called, what is it called? Ye Old Crow Sampler from Heart and Hand. I am stitching it in just the one color. I think I'm just doing it in Anchor Black, to be honest with you. Yeah, I am. And this is 18 count Pumpkin Spice from Dove Stitch. You can tell up top it's printed. So it'll probably only go like to here, but that's what I have so far. I mean, I think the alphabet is one of the things that'll take the longest. Once you get to the crow and the pumpkin, I think that'll go by quickly. So that's where that one is. That one certainly could very well be a finish in 2023. I don't know what my focus is going to be this year. I don't have, if you watch my planning video, I have some ideas for some of the months, and I want to start at least 25 pieces this year. I have no problem with how many projects I have. And some of those will get finished, I think. So, you know, it'll be kind of fluid in what I do and don't finish. This next one's called A Raven's Reply from Luminous Fiber Arts. I really like her patterns. I think on this one though, I may not stitch the word nevermore, or what I might do is stitch it but not do that border. I may keep that border on, I will keep it on the 3 sides here because I've got a portion of it stitched, but then I might make this a single, maybe like a double layer, just black box with the word nevermore. I'm thinking that's where I'll go with that. I stitched this past year, the pumpkin, for a trading card, and I really did enjoy it. I used a different color though. I used more of a purple. This one I'm going more of a gray. This is 18 count Haunting by Fabrics by Stephanie. So I don't have a ton really done yet, to be honest with you, but again, I don't think this one would take super long if I just kind of buckle down. And I will take a little bit out of the border, so that will make it go a little bit faster. I think I'd like the contrast between kind of the scalloped type of border at the top and then maybe just a straight kind of border around the word. I think I like that. All right, next. This one will be an adventure for me because this one has quite a few beads in it. And so I'm nowhere near at that point, but it'll be fun to try. This is Celtic Pumpkin from Frony Ritter Designs. And that's what it looks like. And doesn't it look so big? It looks so much bigger than it actually is in person. When I did my measurements and I cut my fabric, I was like, wow, that's it. So that's what we have. This is an 18 count Barely Lime from Dove Stitch. And I'm going to do all the stitching first. Now it is on an 18 count. So I realized many of you were so helpful because I said, well, will the beads work, the called for beads, but many of you told me that Mill Hill has a petite line that could work. So I would just take the number here and see if I can find it in the smaller beads. So I might be asking for more help when I get to there, but you all are so helpful that it'll be fun. And what's really neat about them is if for some reason you can't bead or whatever, maybe it's a dexterity thing or something, they do offer a cross-stitched alternative, so they give colors for that instead, so you could completely cross stitch it. And if I can't find beads to my liking that work, then that's maybe what happens with that one. All right, we're back to the iPad for just a couple more left on the iPad, to be honest with you. This next one are some more gnomes from Wonderland, Ukraine. So this is the autumn set. Let me show you the set first. That's the set of 3, and I am stitching the one, let me put it over here, this one on the end, right there. There's cute parts to all 3 of them, so I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do, but I ended up with that one. And that's where I am. So a good chunk here. I got that part done, but I still have a good half to go. This is done on an 18 count buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. I recently discovered this color fabric. This was started in November. No, this was started in October. And I discovered this color buttercream on the 18 count, and it is beautiful. And the next project, ironically, in my listing here, is also done on this. And the colors that I've used for both projects look so good on it. I can't wait to try other things on this buttercream. Really, really enjoying it. So that's where that one is. It's been put away, obviously, because it's in autumn. I don't know when he'll come back out again. We'll see. Again, I'm not saying I absolutely pushing for a finish this year or need to finish it this year. That one's just stitch as I go. Then in November, I couldn't help myself. I had to start Turkey Day from Cottage Garden Samplings. This was part of the series in, was it a 2021 series? Yeah, it was. I have a good number of these. I don't think I have all 12, but I have a good number. I don't know which ones I do and don't have. And so for this was pretty much just stitched in November. And I mean, not even necessarily at the beginning. I don't remember when I started this, but this is a big turkey, really big turkey. Again, the 18 count buttercream. I love how those colors look on it. I'm super excited. This will be elaborate, and I think it's really going to look cool though on this fabric. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a 2023 finish though, because there's a lot of work to him. He is full coverage, that guy, and there's a lot of design in him, so that could take a while. All right, now if you thought I was done with full coverages, nope. I pulled this one out, and I could see this one going fairly quickly. There are only 31 colors in this, which for, you know, the full coverages is pretty good. And because it's more sepia toned, you don't change colors that much. So this is called Minnie 1. Artwork is by Zindi Nielsen, I believe. Yes, Nielsen, and Heaven and Earth Designs. Sue charted it. But I was looking forward to a full coverage. I wanted a full coverage start. I love the beach scenes and themes, and I have a lot of colorful ones. So I decided, let's go one that's a little less. So again, this is as, am I on? Yes, this is it. I'm at the end. So this one was currently my 10-day rotation. I just finished it up on yesterday. And so I stitched all the way to the end. So that's as wide as it's going to be. Now, I clearly could have used some of this extra fabric from my hidden harbor. I didn't really do it very well, did I? And this is the length of it. In fact, I went back through my pattern and I said, did I stitch everything? Did I skip something? But it doesn't look like I did. So that's what that looks like. That one will get put away now. I probably won't even show it on Friday because the amount of difference from Friday's video, and I mean, obviously stitching it Saturday, and that's it, you wouldn't see much difference. So you probably won't see that on Friday. Hidden Harbor you will see though, because I plan on doing a day, each day on that. Oh no, I can hear the pile going. Hold on a second. You can just hear the noise in the slow slide. If you hear a big crash, sort of crash, I mean, it's fabric, right? But if you hear a big crash, you'll know it all went down. November's chrysanthemum from Cottage Garden Samplings is next. And I am doing this whole set of 12. And that will be a focus each month for me in 2023. Now, this guy just got started near the end of the month, so it has a long way to go yet. This is done on an 18 count. It's called Bambino from Tropical Stitches. I couldn't decide what to do. It's a very pale, pale blue. I decided that one would kind of show off the colors nicely. So that's what I'm doing it on. I think what I'll do with this set is during its month, I'll stitch on it and then I'll put it away. I don't care about having them out for like any months this year. They're going to be scrapbooked. They're not going to be put out. So when they get done, they get done. Then in December, I pulled out December's Holly, also from Cottage Garden, also part of that series. So that's what that looks like. And this is where I've finished this up. So that's done for 2022. And it will come out in December of 2023, unless for some reason I have extra time. And this is done in an 18 count honeydew melon from To Dye For Fabrics. So there we go. My January's, I think it's Snowdrop. And that was called for today's number for Bringo. So I did start that this morning, but you're not going to see that till Friday. I figured I would just wait and do that in Friday's video. These were, like I said, I did the cutoff. I had already done these notes earlier the weekend. I had all the stuff ready to go. So anything new I wasn't going to put in here. So whatever number, I was really hoping a number wasn't going to get called with one of these projects, because then I'd have to wait and start kind of afterwards, because I wanted to film this first. I had to start as soon as this came out, even though I hadn't finished summer. It's the Winter Quaker from Jardin Privé. And I will work on this one during the winter season right now. I am loving it so far. That's what it looks like. This is an 18 count. It's called Sky from Atomic Ranch. And if we come up, that's what it looks like. I'm loving it. I really, really do love it. Monochromatic, I tell you. I can see the appeal. I really do like it. And then the last one I'm going to show you is called Christmas Deer. And it was a Christmas Day start. I saw this piece. I'm calling it a full coverage because it is full coverage. It's just probably a little bit smaller than a lot of my full coverages. And it's from the Stitchery by MJ. They are on Etsy. And that's what it looks like. I just loved all the pinks. I just thought it was so much fun and cheery and bright. And on Charting Creations, there are a bunch of different reindeer ones that I've really been drawn to. But a lot of those charts are really, really big. I think you can ask, though, to do size changes. So I might reach out because I really do like them. But I thought this was kind of cute. It's a little bit more of a less detailed reindeer, for want of a better word. But I really did like it, and I love the colors. So this is a Christmas start. So that's how much I got done between Christmas and the end of this year. And I could see this one getting work, not in just necessarily a 10-day rotation. I've really enjoyed stitching this so far. I mean, right now I'm just in the pinks, and there's a little bit slight purple or whatever in there. But I really enjoying the colors. I enjoyed stitching it so far. So you may see that a little bit more often than, say, one of my regular full coverages in the 10-day rotation. Now today is January 1st, so I am doing a new year, new start, and I am going to start Black Vintage Sampler from Owl Forest Embroidery. So that will be one that will start into my rotation, or start for 2023, right? We are in 2023 right now. I don't even know anymore. And like I said, Snowdrop got to start this morning. And for January in my Bringo board, there's probably another start or two. Not a ton. I tried to find projects that I already have going. And then if you watch my planning video, you saw a bunch of different things I may or may not start. And then who knows, coming in this year, what we'll see. So statistically, I have 45 total projects right now. Well, 46 technically, because Snowdrop was started this morning. But from what I just showed you, 10 full coverages, 35 regular projects. And then in 2022, just as a wrap up, I had 86 starts. Now, remember, I start things from huge to tiny. So that 86 is encompassed in all of that. And of that 86, no, just that's my number of starts. And then if you look at my finishes, I made 67 finishes. 13 of them were trading cards. 32 of them were ornaments. Remember, I did my Tiny Modernist ornaments this year. So that was quite a few of the ornaments. Plus then I tried to focus on Christmas at the end of the year. And I had 22 regular project finishes, which I feel is pretty good because some of those were kind of longer, bigger projects, and it was exciting to do. And I am taking my 25/7 into the next year of 2023, and I want to use that to help me get more finishes and get me push me along on the finish area, along with just stitching some of the other things. So that's it. Those are my projects. That's where I stand. I am super excited with the start of 2023 and what some of my plans are. And most of my projects I am still very excited about. There's a couple I need to evaluate, a couple I need to sit down and figure out colors and decide to recommit to them. And then I just have to kind of find a way to enjoy one strand stitching, so that, because I really do enjoy those two projects, so I don't want to give them up. So for the most part, there's one definitely gone, one that's on the cusp, but everything else should be part of the rotation going forward into the new year. So thank you so much if you are still here for watching that and checking out my projects, and thank you so much for all of your support and comments and help as I ask in the year. And I'm looking forward to a fun year of stitching in 2023 with all of you. So until next time, happy stitching.